Welcome to the WealthGenius Podcast, brought to you by the Expand Wealth Real Estate Fund. Expand your wealth by investing in apartment buildings. Go to expandwealthfund.com to book your info session. The WealthGenius Podcast, strategies for multifamily real estate investing, mindset, community, success. The WealthGenius Podcast with your host, the Godfather of Real Estate, Alfonso Cuadra, who has expansive experience in business and massive success as a real estate investor. The WealthGenius Podcast. Let's dive into today's episode.
Are we rolling? We're live here. Expand Investor Conference Podcast. Make some noise! This is the first time we do our podcast in front of a live audience. Isn't it exciting, Patrick?
It's exciting, except for my mic doesn't work.
Can someone figure that out, please? Okay, good. We're going to figure out Patrick's mic. So let's see who we have on the show here. We're going to start with Thomas. Introduce yourself, what you do, but do it slowly. Do it.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Again, Thomas Lorini. Pause. Originally from Toronto, Canada, now a citizen in the U.S. So dual citizen, investing both Canada and U.S. I'm the U.S. coach within the group. And I've been in real estate for over 15 years. I give a snippet of my experience, started from the engineering world and transitioned full-time into real estate. I do mainly value-add apartment investing at this point, investing with a lot of Canadian partners. And, just sharing the message about diversifying for Canadians, helping them understand you can do this. Investing in the U.S. is not that difficult. Just got to learn and take action. All right, thank you.
Woo! Big round of applause for Thomas. And allow me to introduce you. You guys know already Helene. Make some noise for Helene. You were talking about tenants. We don't have that problem, because we have Helene overseeing portfolio of roughly about 200 million, 1,000 doors. Give her a big round of applause.
Not by myself. I do not do it by myself. We have an amazing team. They're at home right now taking care of our tenants, and it is an incredibly important part of your job as an investor to have good property management, and we love our team. So I'm here to share any insight that I can.
All right, so
big round of applause.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Check. I got it, Alfonso.
Calvin, so we hung out all day. And that was a lot of fun. Make some noise for Calvin Hexter in the house.
Thank you. So for those of you that I haven't met yet, my name is Calvin Hexter. I'm the owner of Calvin Realty, which is an investor-focused real estate team that's nationally recognized. We do a lot of stuff. I got asked today, what percentage of clients do we work with out of province, both for primary and investment? We probably work with maybe 30 to 35%. And we've been doing so since 2018. So we have lots of experience, and we have the professional networks and partners to assist you if you ever do want to invest outside of your neighborhood. Also owner of Recon, which I had these two lovely gentlemen speak at last year.
Make some noise for Recon.
And I'm excited to connect with a lot of you, because I really do I love hearing everybody's story. I love your authentic journey. And, I love to share mine as well. And just very briefly, I came from a world where none of my family ever invested in real estate. It was mutual funds, RSPs. My mom literally cried the day that I bought my first rental, not because she was excited, because she worked at the bank for 30 years and she thought I was going to go bankrupt. She thought by investing in real estate, it was only doomed for failure, not because she didn't have my best interest, it's because she didn't have the knowledge. You guys are here today to be able to collect that knowledge and pass it down to your loved ones and put them in a better position. So give yourselves a big damn round of applause.
Woo! And the gentleman to my left, we met roughly about 2 years ago. I actually was invited to go on his podcast. The podcast was about 45 minutes. We ended up talking for 2 hours. And just like old girlfriends, right? No, but, what we discovered is that we had a lot of common values and goals, and obviously we're both leaders of communities, and we thought, wouldn't it be nice if we could somehow bring these communities together? And you know what? That was, I think, 3 or 4 expands ago, and you've joined us ever since. You're part of the family. Put your hands together for Patrick Francey.
Thank you. So am I introducing? Tell me
Yeah,
a
no,
little bit. Okay,
just-
so born and raised here in Edmonton, moved out of Edmonton in 2008. We live in the Fraser Valley, British Columbia, although I spend a lot of time in Edmonton. I'm known as the CEO. I guess that mostly what I'm known for is being the CEO of the Real Estate Investment Network. I am a multiple business owner. One of the businesses I own right here in Edmonton is called ProSkate. Been here 40 years. We kind of cater to the competitive hockey and figure skating world. That's the retail business that I've had, and that store has had many locations over the years, including into the US. While I was doing that, I discovered that, investing in real estate is a way to also kind of grow sustainable wealth aside from my business. So I started investing in real estate 25 years ago. I came across the Real Estate Investment Network, REIN Canada, and joined that community. And in 2014, I liked the business so much I bought it. So that was kind of how that story goes.
Big round of applause.
But my wife and I have different businesses. We're also doing lots in our coaching sphere and the Everyday Millionaire podcast and Mindset Matters. And we're kind of growing that into a new initiative as we go forward. I joke, he's 47, I'm 67. We're in totally different phases of our life. And I'm on to new projects. He's on to continuing to build communities. And we wanted to bring the communities together and hang out together and support others in doing what we've been quite successful at doing over the past 25 or 30 years.
Well, give him a round of applause. 67. Look, you inspire me, sir. Look at, you're in great shape. Is he in great shape for 67? Big round of applause.
My mom's 97, so I got good genetics.
That's good. Well, everybody knows me as the Godfather of Real Estate. What does it mean? It means that I've been doing this for a very long time. Going on 30 years in business. I should be the grandfather of real estate, but really, this is the grandfather of real estate right here. It never gets old.
It never gets old.
All right, so welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, our first live, in-person, live audience right here. Make some noise, expand. And, the mic is ready. Majid is ready with the mic for anybody that has questions. We're going to get things started, but all you got to do is raise your hand if you got a question regarding property management, U.S. investing, the Edmonton market, what's going on with the economics of Canada? Where are we going? Actually, that's where I want to start. What is going on? What's going on? How are you guys pivoting, changing your business, or are you?
You're leading me with that question.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how you want to look at it. So tomorrow, I think, or Sunday, I'm talking about the economic fundamentals that drive real estate. Our job as investors to look into the future, where real estate's going. So we have to look at the economic conditions. So one of the first considerations is what's happening locally in a regional market. So you're in Edmonton. Is Edmonton a good place to invest in? I look at the economic fundamentals. I look at the kind of the macro and then the micro of those details. And then you would then tap into somebody like Calvin, who's in the trenches every day. He's in the nuances of what's going on in the market, what's working, what's not working, what is he seeing, even what's happening municipally, right? So what is the Economic Development Office doing? What is the LRT that's building? Because he's in it every day. So you start to understand that when we choose a region, it's not Canada. We always see Canadian headlines. Right now, what are the Canadian headlines saying? Too many listings, nobody's buying, the market's going to hell in a handbasket. Well, I guess at a macro, you could say that, but then there is very regional components that we have to pay attention to, and that's when we break it down into regionality. So when I look at what's happening economically, we're into the cycle where opportunities exist. Lots of opportunities, lots of motivated vendors. This is where you get to make great deals with no pressure. You can take your time, do your diligence. These are ideal times. It takes courage because the emotion of it says, holy cow, the world's coming to an end. when we're into a boom cycle, everybody's a genius. So that's what I got to say about now. These are great opportunities. You get to be cautious, but you get to be methodical and really find great deals. I don't know if that's helpful.
Yeah. Go.
I think we got a question.
Okay, we'll go to the question and then we'll come back. Yeah.
Okay.
So with newly elected Prime Minister Carney, saying that government kind of wants to get.
We're getting political.
With that,
He's like, give me that.
how do you think that will affect real estate investors now and let's say 2 years from now?
Well, I think the first thing you have to ask yourself is what is the probability that the government's going to build $500,000 homes in a year? That's not going to happen, number one. Number two, what type of housing are they building? And the type of housing that they're building is really got nothing to do with what we're investing in and what we're doing. So the probability is pretty bar none that is not going to happen that they can pull it off. If you listen to what they're saying, it's housing units. They're not talking about building homes. You see the subtle difference in that? And so it's not going to be in our way as investors.
You have some insight on that?
No comment.
Well, one thing I like to bring it back to the first question, the pivoting, right? And how we are adjusting. You here have to adjust to, maybe more of an influx of people, and we don't know how long it's going to last. How can this be sustainable? So what are your comments to that?
I would break it down into 3 components of how we've had to evolve. And I think like any industry with AI and everything, you're forced to evolve more than ever right now, or you're going to be left behind and you'll be the blockbuster very, very quickly. And so a couple different ways that we've had to evolve is we've had a lot of pressure from out of province buyers, both primary and investment over the course of the last 2-3 years. And we've been doing it for years and years. So we've created an easier highway to get connected with professional partners. So we almost make it easier to invest here than it would be in your own backyard through the accessibility of trades, answers, just networks, all that kind of thing. So we've been able to really improve our processes that way, which I'm really proud about. So I love hearing it from an investor. It's like, wow, you almost look for the Staples button. That was easy. That's what we look for. I would say another component is we have to lean into the available options to Edmontonians right now. For those of you that have been following infill, we have the most amount of permits we've ever received, I think in 2024. It increased by 50% because the city of Edmonton is really creating a new landscape for densification. They're allowing developers and builders to be really creative and densify these lots. If you guys were on the bus tour today, you've seen, we had comments, I can't believe you could squeeze a 9-unit on that lot. I know, me too. We see more density, right? And so when it comes to us, it's making sure that we're up to date with all the rules, the opportunities for our investors, and we're always that couple steps ahead, right? So when we hear about any changes with MI Select, if we have any pending deals, we're going to our buyers right away, letting them know what kind of challenges we foresee, but also make sure that we're able to navigate our new investors in the right space as well. Because again, we're the ones that see it from a very macro perspective, right? When you're going through it, you see it from your perspective, you see it from your network, we see it from hundreds of people. So our job is to be able to take that information, bring it over to you so you make less mistakes and you can navigate that space a little bit easier. I would say that those 2 ways are massive, and I can't remember the third, so I'm going to leave it as that.
Okay, good. I'll go to Helene because I know that for the first time in a long time, we started to see a trend in vacancy going up, right?
We did,
especially in the core of the cities.
Yeah, we actually experienced for the first time in a very long time vacancy of longer than a month. Normally in Ontario, especially Ottawa and the surrounding areas, we were able to fill a unit immediately. And we did see I have some units that are empty for actually 3 months, which is almost unheard of.
And we also do that by choice because we want the quality tenants.
Exactly. Rents haven't increased as much in Ontario as they did over the past few years. When a tenant leaves, you can raise the rent. We're finding that it's just not quite as much as what it was, which is actually more normal than it has been over the last 2 years. So I think it's just stabilizing. But what we've also noticed is that tenants have come to us and said, the government, I've lost my job. And, really those are just excuses for someone who's lost a job. But you know what? There is so much funding and help available for tenants who have lost their job and are looking for assistance on their rent. Just this past week, I had 5 different agencies provide checks for tenants. And this is like government agencies on different levels that provided checks for tenants that had lost their job, didn't have an EI yet, or didn't have a way of paying. So, whatever the government is, whatever the situation is, there's always ways to find help for tenants who can't take care of their rent. So just get them to look, find out, talk to your municipalities, and you'll be able to get some help for that.
Now, without getting political, we're going to go to Thomas.
I think
what's going on your side? What's going on the other side of the border?
I won't say it, but what I am seeing is more opportunities. Kind of going off what Patrick mentioned. We're seeing the opportunities increasing predominantly from operators who were acquiring assets in 2021 to 2023. The default rate on some of these multifamilies have increased substantially. So there's opportunities in the multifamily space more so in the last year than we've seen over the last number of years. And with that, the creativity, right? Assumable mortgages, VTB, seller financing, those kind of conditions are starting to increase. So for you Canadians, that actually increases the capacity to go south of the border, because predominantly financing kind of tends to be the main hurdle for Canadians. Being a foreign investor, you're kind of limited on your financing abilities. But now what we're seeing is that, wait a minute, these operators who are holding these assets, they're kind of in that distressed realm. They're looking to offload them. So we're now negotiating from a strength of, from a position of power, and we're able to, get price reductions, negotiate the creativity realm a lot more. So that's what I've been seeing, and it's exciting. Yes, it may be kind of scary because the news, the headlines, as Patrick mentioned, may be kind of doom and gloom in some aspects, but this is the realm that we want to play in, right? As investors, we want to get into these opportunistic cycles, and that's what we're seeing right now. High interest, the interest still predominantly higher in the U.S., and it's not going to come down in the foreseeable future. We're talking over the course of the next year or so, we're still in the high 6s, 7. So you guys kind of I think are substantially lower. But where we are, people have acquired properties a few years ago, and now that refinance position 4 or 5 years out, now they're realizing, wait a minute, I acquired at 3%, now rates are 6, 7. I'm gonna have to bring cash to the table. This is not penciling out. So we're gonna have to figure something. Either we're gonna have to bring in additional partners, or we're gonna have to sell the asset. And that's where, as an investors, you can kind of really capture something really interesting.
A lot of portfolios trading hands right now, and a lot of those loans that were signed in 2020 when the interest rates were like 1 or 2%. Now they're coming due, depending on the term. That some people are still on variable, by the way. So a lot of people hurting, and we don't want anybody to hurt, but those are opportunities.
Yeah, and especially one thing to realize is that in the U.S., I'm talking mainly on the commercial side, because on the residential side, you may or may not know that most people lock in for 30 years. So it hasn't hit the residential side the same way as it is on the the multifamily on the commercial side of things, where we're refinancing 5, 7, or 10 years predominantly. Most operators in that kind of realm. So that's why we're finding the increased opportunities. The single family space, home ownership, the market for the most part has been relatively stable. We've hit all-time highs, for average home price in the U.S. So that thing was relatively solid. But I think, again, as investors, and my main focus is multifamily, that's where we're seeing a substantial increase.
There's a question right here.
Yeah, just touched on what you said there. Kind of answered in part that my question, but in terms of keeping your mindset and focus on a particular asset class in real estate, how do you not get the shiny object syndrome and jump from one thing to the next to the next? Yeah. How do you focus on that, and what are your respective thoughts on what is the most viable asset class given what we've been through with COVID and everything else for the last 5 years or so?
Yeah, I'll jump into that. I mean, that's one of the main questions I talk to my students all the time, staying focused. Too often, everyone I talk to is doing a different strategy. This week, the flavor of the month is Airbnb. Next month, it's like co-living. And then after that, it's like multifamily. And it's flipping. It's very easy to get distracted. So we need to be disciplined. Pick a lane, stick with it, minimum a year. Give yourself time to learn it, because every niche has its own dynamics, from everything from the acquisition to the management aspect of it. So it's really important to stay in your lane, go deep into it, and along with that is even markets, bouncing around. And I've done that in the past, right? But I've kind of grown in my maturity as an investor. I've been doing this now for a number of years. There's opportunities everywhere, but it's so important to pick a lane, stay with it, and go deep. What I'm finding now, I've kind of dialed in, picked one market, and going so deep that the deals are coming to me. I become a player in that market. So the brokers, the property managers, they're realizing, oh, wait a minute, this person has a sizable portfolio, building those relationships. There may be deals in other markets, but I'm just gonna stay. I'm not gonna stay focused and not go there. I mean, at the end of the day, I tell people are making money and losing money in every market. So I'm not pretending that Milwaukee or Seattle people aren't doing deals. Great, good for them. But it's really important to stick with it. Stick with one lane, go deep, and you'll see substantial
It's the
success.
shiny object syndrome, right? So people get distracted. Hey, what about this? What about that? To answer that question directly, for me and Helene, for us is multifamily. That's the strategy. We go deep, and now we're building multifamily. So.
And be patient with the decision that you've made. If you've made a choice in something, the results don't happen instantly. So you could get frustrated if you're doing something and you see some other people doing something else, but maybe they've been doing that already for 5 years, or maybe this is something you're seeing the results later. So just be patient and know that if you do something and you're persistent and you do it right, it will always pan out good.
Go ahead.
I was also going to suggest too, one thing that I've always, that I've seen through all the different markets is, they say location, location, location. So no matter what kind of market, we tend to see that if you have a property in a more superior, desirable location, no matter what kind of market's thrown at it, it tends to survive a little better. And then if you throw cash flow on it, and it is cash flowing, and not just a little bit, but enough that if we do see increased rates in mortgages, increased rates in utilities, or outstanding expenses that you're just not, that you have no idea that are going to be coming up, I find you'll be protected in the different markets. So numerous units under one roof as a minimum, and then I'd be purchasing in a location that tends to be slightly higher desirable, and make your property more desirable than your neighbors. So then if we ever do see, a contraction in the rental market, vacancies go up, you're that landlord that always has a full building.
I like that. You want to answer that? Yeah.
The only thing I would expand on a little bit of what they said, or what everybody's kind of said, is that you're going to pick a market, you're going to pick an asset class, you're going to kind of a strategy, but the first thing you have to do is really get clear on what you're working backwards from. What is the intention of what you're doing? If this is a forever hold, you're going to pass it on to your kids, that's a strategy. Well, I need income this year, that's a totally different strategy than a buy and hold and buy down mortgage and appreciation. So whatever you're doing, making sure that you're staying focused on what is it that I'm working backwards from. Why am I doing this?
We have a question right here.
I'm just retired from the oil industry last year after 18 years here in Canada. So one thing I noticed, for the first time compared with when I came here to Canada, is that you don't hear about huge project in the oil and gas. However, I never see the population growth in Alberta and Edmonton in particular. What did that tell you about the future of the economics here in the main drivers here in Alberta and the impact on the real estate?
That's so. I would say that's something that a lot of people are not noticing, because they're like, Alberta has always been consistently up and down, but this time it's up, but not because of not directly related to the oil specifically, but the economics. What do you think? What do you say to that?
Well, I think, Alberta, if you're looking at just Alberta overall, you have to then break it down regionally. But ultimately, you've got a lot of population growth coming to Alberta, and a lot of that's driven by affordability. Right now, you've got a case where you've got a lot of people coming into the province and not enough jobs to go around. So you're going to actually see unemployment go up. It's going to really throw things off. So that's one of the issues that we've got. The good news about Alberta right now, you got good leadership, good government leadership. That's just what is happening right now. So that's a good thing given what's going on in the world overall. Secondly, the diversification of the province in what we're doing. When they look at beyond oil and gas, you're opening up whole different industries, and even into the greening, if you will, the climate kind of controls. The ecological issues that they're building into it. So the point is that as much as Alberta is still oil and gas, make no mistake about it, a lot of money is in oil and gas in what we do. That is right now, it's quite a safe industry in spite of all of the controversy around it. But the bigger news and the better news is that the diversification of what's going on economically in Alberta has expanded quite dramatically to what it was.
I think you could probably add to this.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're looking at investing anywhere, you want to see what the province, what the cities are doing when it comes to their plans in respect to infrastructure. The nice thing about, speaking about the city of Edmonton, there's actually numerous different sites you can go to and you can see all the infrastructure developments, where they are in the process, and they really are ramping up. Like, I think for a city to grow, is the city has to allow space for the population to grow, right? And that's really what they're doing in Alberta, is they're trying to accommodate the influx. And most importantly, they're being very welcoming to the migration that we're seeing right now. So I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
All right. So I think we have time for one more question. Okay, Saqib over here.
Awesome.
Yes.
Hey everyone, my name is Saqib. I'm the AI guy for real estate investors and the founder at Real Sway. So my question was for multifamily investing, in Edmonton, Cleveland, for value add and new land development, what are your favorite areas? What areas are you looking at next? I know, Calvin, you mentioned nodes and so forth. So yeah, some detail would be amazing. Thank you.
Okay, so you just want to know areas when it comes to value add that you'd want to be really focusing your attention on, like which areas I feel like are up and coming?
Exactly.
Okay, so West Jasper was a community that we were right next to in the bus tour today. We were at Sherwood, and West Jasper saw the largest amount of permits pulled than any other community in the entire city. I would keep my eyes on that. I'd be looking at where people are putting a ton of their money. The West End right now is going through massive redevelopment, that coupled by the improved transit that they're working on. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but I mean, they're putting a lot of attention. There's a lot of money going on there. There's a massive transformation that's happening right now in the West End. My favorite areas to look at right now, West Edmonton, King Edward Park area, and Millwoods. Those would be my three favorite areas. Now, again, it always goes back, we kind of work your way back from the maze. What's the finish line? And then just make sure that you're doing the proper steps. Those areas aren't best for everybody. If you're like Calvin, I literally just want a property that's like a walking, or not even a walking, but a standing ATM, then I would take you right into, the triangle, which you're very familiar with.
I like Red Deer. I see, in terms of location, being in between Calgary and Edmonton, and seeing all I could see a lot of economic growth happening in Red Deer. What do you say to that?
Well, I want to expand a little bit on what Calvin said, and I think ultimately we have to go back to, don't ever forget that you're investing for the future. So you must be able to see, so what Calvin's talking about is development and all the things that are happening in the areas that he's mentioning, but he's looking and he's saying, what does the future look like? You are investing today, but you're not investing for today. You're investing for future. You always have to ask yourself that question. So Alfonso brings up the topic of Red Deer, and because last time I was here at the Expo or whatever we did, I looked at Red Deer a little bit closer, and you saw a really high unemployment rate, and then you start to see it come down. It's still high, but it's coming down. Oh, isn't that an interesting trend? So you start to look at what's going on in Red Deer economically, and I'm a big fan of Red Deer, also of Lethbridge, by the way. I mean, I like those markets, and I see a big upside for Red Deer. It's going to be a slow grow, but it's still a great market, and I think you're going to start to see a lot more happening there.
Now, the last one was Cleveland. I think he asked you about Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm going to start off by saying, come to Boots on the Ground. That's why we're holding these Boots on the Ground events. For you to come there and learn.
It was too fast. You were too fast.
We'll talk about, well, you only gave me 10 minutes. Listen, I'm here all weekend. I'll be talking more about boots on the ground.
Already.
But the point is,
the bar's about to
I
open.
love this question because, again, it's so important to understand whichever market you pick, you guys spend time and really learn about the market. Because take, for instance, Cleveland. I mean, you're familiar with, I invest in Cleveland. I've been investing there since 2017. But prior to that, I had no knowledge. I had to go there several times to learn the lay of the land. And that's what I do. I bring members there. We spend 4 or 5 days. We drive around. We spend time with local experts, property managers, contractors, realtors to learn A, B, C, D areas, which areas to stay away from, which areas are transitioning. I predominantly focus on C, B areas. What we're seeing is that these C areas, they're a little bit rougher tenant profile. Maybe the areas, not one that you probably wouldn't want to live in, but those are the most opportunistic. You may see a little bit higher vacancy. So the first few years, you may have to be, have your property management team a little bit more, running it, spending more time on the property, potentially picking up assets, which, need a considerable more CapEx and so forth. But those are the areas that you may see the cap suppression happening. You may see the values jump up over, periods of 4, 5, 6 years. So again, opportunistics are very important, but they may ride alongside areas which are D and areas you want to stay away from completely. But how do you know that? You got to be able to determine that by looking on Google Maps. You got to go there and spend time, create your power team. And again, that's why I encourage you guys to come out these boots to the ground. That's the whole reason we do that. But yeah, for me, predominantly C, B areas, that's where you're getting the most value. And it's been working. All right. So again, I'll talk more about that this weekend.
So staying on that subject, so Helene and I, we it doesn't matter what the city is, Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatoon, we like secondary markets that are supported by a major market. Now, that means that maybe it's 45 minutes, half an hour to 45 minutes outside of a major market, and anywhere around Edmonton, that's where I would be investing in. It's like, what are the secondary markets? Because the city's going to push outwards to towards those markets. But to Helene specifically, what would you say from a property management perspective, what are the pros and cons to managing properties in secondary markets?
The pros are that you have tenants generally that are not as, savvy tenants, the tenants that know how to use the system, because they're usually people that are just good folks, hardworking people. They're nice. Those are the people that we like. Those are the ones we want. So you have really good tenants. They tend to take care of your properties a little bit better, in my experience. The cons are that you do have a little bit more trouble getting trade sometimes. If you need specialists, it takes more time, takes more money, takes more effort to get people out to a smaller neighborhood. Although on the flip side, you sometimes have that great guy that, has a small shop that will come over to your place, him, and he'll be able to take care of your property. So, there's pros and cons to both sides, but it's easier, I think, in a lot of ways to make better connections in a smaller center. The trades, the people in the community will often know you after you've been there a few times. So there's something about that connection. And just going back to markets, speaking of markets, I really believe Saskatchewan is the up and coming.
Make some noise for Saskatchewan!
Yeah. You're talking about the secondary, tertiary markets. Well, Saskatchewan has kind of always been a secondary province. It kind of sits beside, Manitoba and Alberta, but there's a lot of things happening there. So if you're looking forward to see what's happening, you look at where there's empty space. Where is there going to be people that are going to go? And it's going to be to places in Saskatchewan. Saskatoon is growing. It's a beautiful city. We have properties there, and they are some of the easiest properties we manage. We have amazing teams there. We have amazing people that look after things. So I love it there.
Where are all the Saskatoon people or Saskatchewan people? Make some noise. Saskatchewan people, make some noise. Come on, guys. Saskatchewan people, make some noise. Okay, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Okay, so
clap politely.
Look around you. Talk to these guys. Talk to the people from Saskatchewan. They're going to let you know what's going on, what the market has to say. Did you guys like this? This was exciting. This is our first in-person live taping of the WealthGenius Podcast. How did we do? Make some noise. Come on, guys. Come on. This is on the podcast. They can hear you. So we always like to leave the podcast with something inspiring, a quote or a mantra, something that you live by. We're going to start with Thomas. Go.
Wow. Well, for me, my wife, my family, we just give God the glory for everything. Every day we wake up, just thank Him, alive, healthy. We've got so many things to look forward to, and just count your blessings. We never know when our day's done, so wake up every day, just be completely grateful for whatever the circumstance is. Life can bring challenges, but in those challenging moments where we learn, we grow as people. So I encourage you to seek God. Thank you.
Woo! Give it up for Thomas. Helene.
You have to have fun, or it's fun to have fun. I don't remember. It's a Dr. Seuss quote. It's fun to have fun, but you have to know how.
Woo! Big round of applause. And Calvin.
Progress, not perfection. Just take your first step and don't think you need to go ahead and offer on a 100-unit building this weekend. Just make one connection, learn one extra thing that you can take back with you, apply it. It's easy to get overwhelmed with how much information. Literally just pick like your top 3. You're going to have a busy book. Pick your top 3. Focus on the first one. Once you get the first one done, work your way down the list. And we're here to support you. If you guys have any questions, don't wait for the next podcast. Just literally come up and say hello.
Let's go. Calvin, big round of applause.
Perspective is perception. So I always go to my favorite quote, which is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And our job is to always be looking at things differently.
Big round of applause. Guys, this was great. Let's thank everybody on the panel. And we want to say goodbye to our friends that are listening to the podcast. Everybody say it with me. Alfonso loves you, and we'll see you at the top. We'll see you at the top. That's it. That's the show. Let's go. All right, guys. I'm going to ask quick. Hold on.